Today, we're here to talk about why Nintendo's big announcement fake out is coming really soon.
Nintendo's getting into a very busy period. We have Nintendo Live happening in a matter of days.
Yes, we will be there.
Rumors are swirling about other announcements perhaps on the horizon.
Yes.
We're gonna let you know where we think the big announcement action is gonna happen or not.
Yes, exactly. It's an exciting time right now. The air is electric with potential announcements. I don't know why I'm doing this motion.
Well,
but
now we're out of the E3 era. Again,
Yeah.
free to do these as you please.
As you please.
Space things out. So I imagine if I was a Nintendo employee now, I would be extremely busy and stressed out.
Exactly, you'd be busy. You'd be very, very busy. Exactly. Yes, so that's going to be fun. We're going to talk about all of that. Everything that you hear, see on this channel is made possible by our wonderful Patreon family. Thank you so much for all of your support. Please join us at patreon.com/Kit and Krysta to keep all of this going.
We talk about how great our Patreon community is, and we're about to give you a real-world example
Oh my
of
gosh.
how incredible it is.
This happened, and I was watching from the sidelines because they were just off to the races on their own, and I was so impressed by all of it that it just speaks volumes to our wonderful community.
Yeah, so the community put together this amazing Smash Brothers Ultimate Tournament, which again, to be clear, we had no role in at all.
No, they didn't even.
It just
they
happened.
didn't want to involve us because they knew we'd be completely
Right.
useless to them.
It just
so
popped out of the blue.
They were just doing it,
one
yeah.
day, but there were 16 players. This tournament lasted 2 months. We had a thread in our Discord that topped 10,000 messages.
Oh my
this
goodness.
this became one of the most active threads in our entire Discord.
Yeah.
And all the matches were streamed. We had live commentary. There were like special videos made to like get
hype
people
reels.
hyped,
Yep,
which
yep.
is incredible. Have to shout out super subscriber Brewstash for creating incredible bracket, which
Yeah.
we'll throw here.
Pikmin Sneeze Cough also helped, I think,
Right.
with all of this. Just it was totally community run, and to see everyone so excited in the community to participate, to cheer people on even if they weren't playing, that was so amazing. It really, truly just it blew me away.
Now, in the end, the finals were, this was a doubles tournament. So we had the
Yes.
TheSharkAmongMen and Mad Dog 5981. Their team was called the Mad Dogfish House. Very good. They were going up against Jay Rando and Elite Peach.
Whew, formidable foes.
The Elite Randos.
Elite Randos is my favorite name ever, by the way.
I strongly thought that Elite Randos would win, because whenever we do any sort of a game competition,
It's either
It's
Elite
one of
Peach
those two.
or Jay Rando.
Right.
Yeah, they're very formidable foes for
but
sure.
in the end, the TheSharkAmongMen and Mad Dog 5981 came out on top.
Would you call them the Underdogfish House?
Oh, my
hey-o.
gosh. That's incredible.
We said congratulations to the TheSharkAmongMen and Mad Dog 5981. You guys are just amazing. Everyone did such a great job. And I love that it was a doubles tournament as well. Yeah, it looked like everyone had a blast. We certainly had a blast, like watching you guys, cheering you on from the sidelines. But it was awesome.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing that's impossible for us to list in any sort of like Patreon perk write-up.
Yeah.
But this is the sort of fun and magic that we have together.
Yeah. Created by our magical, beautiful community.
That's right.
Good stuff.
We have also, in a matter of days, we are leaving for
Here.
the potentially sunny Pacific Northwest. I don't know.
There are some fires.
I don't
Maybe
know.
That's calmed down.
For
but
PAX.
We're going to be at PAX.
PAX is happening.
Yes.
We have quite the schedule ahead of us at PAX. We're doing a lot of stuff. So we are doing a panel this Saturday at 6:30 p.m. If
Yep.
you're going to be at PAX, it's in the Blue Jay Theater, so we hope to see you there. It's also going to be streamed on the PAX Twitch channels. They operate a number of different channels, so be sure to check which one it'll actually be on.
Right.
But that'll be a good time, and that's going to be the starting point for our episode next week. We'll include all of that, but we'll also have some stuff that we're going to record outside of the panel.
Right.
To give you a little extra if you already
So we only
tune
have
into
1
that.
hour for the panel.
Exactly.
So we'll just kind of have a couple of things.
Certainly never otherwise have a 1 hour podcast.
We can never shut up for.
Cannot.
We can't stop ourselves from chatting for just under an hour.
Now, big question.
I'm panicking, yes. The answer is I'm already panicked.
That wasn't my question.
I'm already gripped.
It was related to making you panic, though.
I'm gripped with.
I don't know how big this room is.
Here we go.
I think it's one of the bigger ones.
Stop saying that.
I'm just gonna say.
Already.
At this point, you gotta
Stop it!
You have to get over this.
I'm not gonna.
Why?
Because you never know what's gonna happen. I do think this is a better time though than last year.
What time was last year?
Last year was like in the middle of the day, like morning-ish. People don't want to come to stuff in the morning. People want to come to stuff at night.
People are at PAX all day.
They want to like relax. This is perfect. End of the day, come chill with us. Live podcast. Things can get zany before dinner.
So what would make you more nervous?
Stop asking me these questions.
No, I'm genuinely curious. A room that is like packed, like standing room only, like we got to call the fire marshal. It is like so popular, and just brimming with electricity, or the room is half empty. What would make you panic more?
My knees just.
They're both on the table.
I feel like my knees.
Every option is on the table. We have no clue what to expect.
I don't know. I can't even.
Both of them. Great.
I can't think about
the answer is yes. Great.
Mics are hot, people.
We are also doing, just prior to the meet and greet, again, if you were at PAX from 4 to 5 p.m., we are doing a meet and greet at Captain Alex's booth in celebration of the incredible Kit and Krysta custom limited edition controller.
Yeah.
You don't have to have a controller to come to that. We'll just be out if you want to say hi, take a picture. If you want to bring your controller, if you want to like sign the box or anything like that, love to do that.
Yeah.
But most of all, we just want to meet you all.
Are you nervous that your signature will not match the signature on the back of the controller?
No, because I'm sure it won't.
Oh.
I can't practice.
I tried to make you
on an
nervous,
iPad.
but you definitely are not nervous at all about any of this.
No.
Okay.
You can also see Captain Alex's incredible upcoming Cult of the Lamb controllers, which he has been teasing and look great.
The pin that he posted looks
where you can spin it.
Cool.
You can spin it.
Maybe he'll give me one.
Pinovation is happening at Captain Alex Industries. Pinovation sounds better.
All of it is happening at Captain Alex's booth.
And of course, Sunday, we are crashing Nintendo Live no matter what.
Just kidding.
And the whole trip, we're going to be vlogging the whole time.
Yeah, we'll vlog the whole thing for you guys as usual.
Right, so a lot of fun stuff coming out of PAX. Finally, before we really get going here, you might be wondering, hey, well, you posted this podcast a day early.
We did.
There's a reason.
There is.
The reason is that we have Starfield. We have been playing Starfield.
Oh, boy.
And the embargo for when we can talk about Starfield is Thursday.
August 31st.
Which is our usual podcast time for the public. So we have just pushed this whole thing back by a day to make room. Because we'll have a nice meaty impressions video on Starfield, which, again, we have been playing extensively.
I can't believe that we were able to start playing this game early. What an honor it is.
It is.
It's awesome.
Absolutely.
I'm so grateful that we're able to do this.
Right.
But yeah, we're really excited to just dig on into that for you guys. So yeah, enjoy the podcast a day early and then enjoy some Starfield stuff.
Exactly. So it is a packed week, and the weeks ahead are packed to come to. Cannot look forward to it. We're going to get into our big topic here about the future of Nintendo announcements. But first, got to shout out our sponsor, HelloFresh. Thank you, HelloFresh.
Yum!
With HelloFresh, you get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit.
I have a question for you.
Oh?
You are famous for the end of summer blues.
Oh, yes.
And part of that is because the seasons change and you got to do, different kinds of meal planning. Mm-hmm. Are you feeling it now? I bet you anything that HelloFresh has helped you work through that.
I'm actually not experiencing that this summer for a variety of reasons, but I am looking forward to the fall foods. I do like the fall foods, and HelloFresh is starting to look ahead with some of the fall recipes that are going to be available. So this is the best way to just flip the switch, get right into fall.
I love their seasonal recipes. It's the best. The other thing that's great is that it is so easy and quick. 15 minutes is all you need for some of the recipes. And you just talked about how busy our week is going to be. I'm definitely going to be diving into a HelloFresh recipe to just help me manage my time a little better.
The worst part of my weekend is going to the grocery store.
That's true.
Any chance I can get to not do
Yeah.
that and deal with those crowds and those
Yeah.
people and those crazies, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So HelloFresh is perfect for that.
Exactly.
So go to HelloFresh.com/50KitKrysta and use code 50KitKrysta for 50% off plus free shipping. I repeat, go to HelloFresh.com/50KitKrysta and use code 50KitKrysta for 50% off plus free shipping.
That is a good deal, and we'll put the link right over here and in the description below.
That's right.
All right.
Okay, the future of Nintendo announcements. So let's start with Nintendo Live because that is happening the soonest.
Yeah.
Kick happening this weekend in Seattle. They have been making a lot of updates to the Nintendo Live website.
Right.
If you
I
have
get a
been-
lot of emails from like the Nintendo Live. You register for the event. You are getting a lot of emails,
Right.
I think, about the experiences that are going to be there.
So they have a quite extensive summary of everything that they are claiming is going to be there. So why don't we just start by going through all of that? So because they've kind of broken it into certain categories. So the biggest one is called experience zones, and this seems to me just like go play a game, and
Right.
but there
But it's
might be
themed out.
a themed area
Right.
or some other themed activity
Exactly.
for you to do.
And that is exactly what we experienced when we went to Nintendo Live in Kyoto.
2019.
2019.
Correct.
It's very focused on these kind of gameplay experiences with some additional, lipstick on it.
Right. So, for example, for Animal Crossing New Horizons, which is on this list, they like take pictures, with the props and with the trees of Animal Crossing. It's like that's literally the setup that we have seen at different events. They had it at Gamescom also.
They did,
I wonder if
yeah.
it's just getting on an
Well,
airplane.
that Animal Crossing was revealed at a PAX.
Right.
That was like the last big in-person event that we did when the pandemic hit. And so I don't think Nintendo ever got the mileage out of that very,
Now they
very,
are.
very, very, very expensive setup.
Yeah.
It was like dollar
Whose
signs.
basement do we need to raid?
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Doug
So,
Bowser, call the movers.
Call the movers. So I'm sure they're going to have that literally everywhere.
Right, but let's go through these. So there's a Mario Dojo where it looks like you can do like Mario competitions with like Mario games.
Yep.
Tears of the Kingdom with the big Link statue that we've seen. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, Kirby the Forgotten Land, Pikmin 4, Animal Crossing, Splatoon 3, Smash Ultimate, NSO Classic games, and then we do have some partners and third-party games. So there's a Lego Mario section. There's the Mario movie van will be there.
Oh, back again. Yeah.
And then on the third party, they'll have Disney Illusion Island, Lego 2K Drive, and Just Dance 2023. That's nice because in Japan, they had no third-party presence at all.
Right.
And we asked about that, and they were like, well, it says Nintendo Live. It's a Nintendo event. So we got
Ouch.
Nintendo stuff.
Oh, exclusive.
wow,
You're
really?
Exclusive club.
Kinda
The
harsh.
Disney Illusion Island setup that they had at the preview event that I went to
Oh, yeah.
at Disneyland was really, really nice.
Okay.
And I was like wondering, like, oh man, I hope they can use that somewhere else.
Oh, good.
Because it was only for like that small group of people that
I
got
see.
to go. So maybe they'll bring it to Nintendo Live because there was like cool photo ops and stuff.
Okay, yeah. Maybe,
Yeah,
maybe if
I
you
love
promise
that.
to bring some sort of a prop, you can get in.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
I like it.
So that's like 15, I don't know, I'm just counting randomly. That's like 15-ish games. It's a lot of games. Obviously nothing that is not out already.
And some of them are pretty like been out for a long time.
Yeah, but I mean, if you
plus.
consider like they'll have a handful of stations for all of those, it's a pretty big gameplay area.
Yeah, just to come play
And
and hang out.
so the PAX, the Nintendo Live is associated with PAX now. It sounds like they've expanded the venue.
Now it's in like two
There's some
different
new
locations.
buildings
Yeah,
at
I'm
the convention
curious.
center. So I'm curious to see this myself because a lot of these instructions we begin, it's like go to this building, go to that building. It's like there used to just be one building. I don't know.
It was getting pretty jammed in there, so I'm glad they're spreading out a little bit.
The PAX venue, one of the most confusing venues to
It is
navigate
so
you will ever see.
confusing. Yeah, this is why I'm always afraid that no one's going to show up to a panel. 'Cause
I know.
You can't actually find the panel room,
So,
so there's that.
But that's just a good indicator of like, yeah, this is going to be a pretty significant space-wise location, and then there'll be, of course, all the other visuals for where people can do pictures or do other stuff. Live performances. There'd be a Zelda orchestra and a
Yes.
Mario big band.
Yeah.
Now,
You needed the
warp
pass.
pipe pass.
Yes. Now that I'm just a normie, I was like doing this sign up for the warp pipe pass. Like I got an email that was like, it opens at this time. I went at that time to sign up. The website completely broke. I didn't get to sign up. It was kind of a bad experience, honestly, because I don't know who, like, it was like buying Comic-Con tickets where, like, it's impossible.
It was just immediately gone.
Immediately gone.
Right. So that's something else that I've noted is they're being very cagey about what they're streaming and what they're not streaming.
Yeah.
So they just announced today that Victor Lucas of Electric Playground is going to be hosting Nintendo Live. I don't know exactly what that means. So they have said that they're streaming some of the tournaments that are happening. We'll get to those later.
Yeah.
But stuff that would be awesome to stream, like these musical performances, not happening.
That's
big miss.
Kind of a stinky situation because if you can't, first of all, you have to get a lottery to go. Then you have to lottery again to get into this. So it's like the people that are going to see this is really super limited. So that's a little bit unfortunate.
Especially since when we were there, the mantra was always like, you need to find ways to go beyond the people who are there.
Exactly.
And bring that excitement to them, to the, quote, home audience.
Yes.
And if you're only streaming the tournaments, you're kind of not doing that. And in Japan, like they had a pretty extensive stream schedule.
Yeah, and then they also did have the concert stream in Japan.
I wonder if there might be, again, Nintendo and music, some sort of illegal
licensing thing.
Somebody threw the book at this
the lawyers. It smells like a lawyer. Smells like a lawyer.
It smells annoying to me because I would like.
A lawyer smells like.
Again, like I'm sure somebody will film this. I'm sure like there'll be plenty of videos out, but it's like, hey, why not have the big official, great quality? You know, we recorded it right off the board sort of thing.
Right.
This is not going to be like a Fish concert where they're like, hey, everybody, come in the back and plug your thing in.
Fish concert.
Okay? This isn't going to be like that.
Showing your age here.
This isn't gonna, I've never been.
Fish concert?
I've never been to a Fish concert. I don't like fish.
Lordy.
They are also having a. I thought this one was strange. They call it a variety stage, but there's only one thing happening.
So what's the variety?
They call it multiplayer challenges.
Maybe it's a variety of multiplayer challenges.
You just sort of come up with a group and do some challenges. Okay. And if you only got one thing, I don't think you need to create a whole category for it, you know?
The Japan one had a lot of like cool, it was almost like a school talent show, which I really enjoyed. They had like costume contests and, you know, someone came up and played the guitar, like it was literally like America's Got Talent kind of thing. Which I thought was much better for like that type of variety show, variety stage show. So maybe there'll be some surprises like that, but it doesn't look like they've sort of announced it officially.
Right. So then they will have all these Nintendo Versus tournaments. So Smash, Mario Kart 8, and Splatoon, and these will all be streamed.
Right.
They're careful to note. Again, it seems to be the only thing from the event that is being streamed, so I don't understand the rationale from that necessarily.
I'm just gonna call it here right now that our community Smash stream is going to be better than their Smash stream. I'm just gonna say that right now. No one can make a bracket like Bruce Dash.
Could be true. So, I mean, they've been doing these tournaments for a long time.
Yeah, they're a little samey.
Yeah,
nothing to write home about, really.
Gotta do it though. And then finally, they are selling merch, which Nintendo doesn't always do. They've done it. There's some extra steps as an event you need to do to be able to sell things.
Yeah.
So they're going and taking those steps to do this. It looks like it's mostly stuff that's just kind of branded with the logo. When we were at the Japan one, they had quite a bit good merch.
They had very nice merch. Yeah.
And infamously, Doug Bowser's wallet was empty when it came
no
time
money.
to pay.
You had to buy his.
I had to buy it for all of us.
You had to buy it for all of us, including Doug Bowser. What happened?
The moth flew out of his wallet.
Literally, a fly flew out of his empty wallet.
Uh-oh.
Where'd it go? But you bought us all of our merch, which we were thankful for.
I will look at the merch. I don't know if I'm really super hyped to buy the merch if this is all it is.
I did get my fancy suitcase travel stickers at Nintendo Live in Japan. So maybe they'll have something cool there too. We'll see.
They did. This is also something that my eagle eye spotted.
Oh,
everybody who goes gets a free goodie bag. This actually doesn't sound bad. So you get a free tote bag. You get a collectible coin.
Oh, I need the coin.
Did you see that? You love these coins.
I love coins.
I want that coin too. You get Mario character pin set and an activity booklet.
Oh, good.
Wow.
Hopefully we can do the activities together.
Great. Get my crayons. And again, they said that Victor Lucas of Electric Playground is kind of hosting the whole thing. So definitely sounds like a very big complex
It
logistically.
seems very high production, very
I'd
complex.
say, probably a step below the E3 booths where you were literally building like this space entirely out.
Right.
But not far from it.
I don't think so. Yeah, I mean they had a very extensive sort of setup at the Kyoto event. I'm sure the bar is quite high. This is the first one sort of outside of Japan that Nintendo is doing. I know that they want to make this sort of a big thing, like having something that they can, control and do whatever they want from like an event perspective and not be part of maybe like a bigger trade show is something that Nintendo, I think, values.
Right.
So I think they're going to try to make a good and big impression with this first Seattle Nintendo Live, and I wonder what that means and if there's going to be more of these in other countries, hopefully. But yeah, it sounds really cool, and we're excited to check it out when we're there.
Something I'll be paying close attention to is like who are the people going to this, because at the Japan one, like it was very interesting that it was a lot of like kids and families.
Yeah.
More than just, the 20-year-old dudes who are into games. So somehow they managed to pull that off. And,
Right.
I think that's kind of the ideal vision for this as well. I don't expect it to be like that at all, but I do want to keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, that will be interesting to see. We did start to see like more kids at PAX in recent years, like more families at PAX. So maybe that can be like a spillover into Nintendo Live, but that is truly like Nintendo's quote like target audience, as we call it in marketing. It's an annoying term, but they want to sort of expand outside of like the typical person that's playing video games into somebody that may be more casual. So yeah, we'll see if this helps them meet that goal. But
even on their site on the FAQ, they have one that says, "Do I need to know a lot about games to enjoy this?"
Right.
People of all ages and gaming experience are encouraged to attend. The experience is designed with families in mind and includes activities other than playing games. Whether you're a lifelong fan or someone new to the world of Nintendo, everyone is invited to have fun if you can get in.
If you can,
Asterisk. Do not enter without a pass.
It's like the most PR message
Right.
ever.
They kind of wrote the FAQ in a way to like, how can we position this positively through the FAQ instead of actually answering tricky questions?
Right.
Because I was like, where's the thing about streaming? We're talking about what you're streaming. It's nowhere to be found.
Nowhere to be found.
But it's like, but let me tell you about parents and families.
This is
You're
what
going
they
to love
love
it.
to do, because remember we used to work on FAQs for stuff, and then some people would literally be like, "Can we delete that?
That question's too hard.
Can we delete it?" I'm like, I can delete it off the paper, but I can't delete it off the minds of the person from the media that will ask you. But if you want me to delete it off the paper, I can do that.
We'll do that. We'll all feel better.
Okay.
It definitely won't happen then.
Great.
All right. The big question everybody wants to know is this some sort of a Trojan horse for some secret big announcement that is happening? Or is Nintendo just pulling the wool over our eyes with all of this
They're gonna bait and switch
family,
us?
grandma, grandpa stuff?
And then it's like, bam, Metroid 4.
Day one, boom, watch the Direct and play all those games. Is that going to happen?
I don't think so personally, that's what's going to happen. This has been, proven to be sort of a event where it's all about games that are already out and experiencing those games and sort of having a nice, like, just let's play some games and hang out kind of thing versus it being a place for new announcements. And they also said in this FAQ that...
Right, in the FAQ, this was one of the first... Like when they announced it, this was in the FAQ.
Yeah,
because they were getting ahead of this. Will there be new product announcements? Yeah. No such announcements are planned. Nintendo Live 2023 is first and foremost an in-person celebration of Nintendo fun for all members of the family.
Yeah.
Bring grandma.
Bring grandma. Grandma.
Whether she wants to come or not, bring
grandma
her.
could get hyped for a Nintendo Direct.
Sure.
Grandma could
Grandma
react.
could turn up.
Why are you laughing?
Yeah, I mean, it's just not going to happen. Going back to our discussion of Gamescom, we talked about how Nintendo wants global opportunities to make big announcements.
Yeah.
This is unfortunately not a global event.
Yeah,
this is the North American installment of an event series that they would like to be global in the future. but it is not a global event. Again,
Right.
the only one that was global was E3. So in terms of there being some sort of a new announcement at this or something leading up to this where there's some big payoff of like, oh my gosh, now I'm playing this, now I'm playing that. I don't see it happening.
Yeah.
The
Also-
thing that's in, oh please, go ahead.
Oh, thank you.
I would never cut you off.
You wouldn't do
I would,
any such
and I also
thing.
never have.
You're so polite.
Never once.
And so wonderful all the time.
Yes.
I was going to say, also, as you get closer and closer to the holiday season, you just want to get people more and more focused on the stuff that you're going to sell them during the holiday season. So anything that can act as a distraction, we were talking about this again in our Gamescom video, I think Nintendo's going to want to stay away from that as much as possible.
Now, the thing that's interesting about this is the association with PAX, because before PAX, Nintendo had a big PAX booth. They don't have any booth this year. They're doing this.
Right.
And it was like, hey, come play the builds that we had at E3 and get excited for the games that are coming out later this year.
Right.
So, I mean, there was no E3, so maybe they don't have the builds, but that sort of forward-looking, anticipatory coverage and hype that was built at a PAX seemingly is not going to happen.
Yeah, and you're talking about stuff that we used to do for media only, though.
Well, they would often have, again, E3 builds on the show floor for people to play.
Yeah.
There was also, meeting rooms that we had where we would show people games.
Yeah, we would show people like behind closed doors,
Right.
games that were updated from the E3 build or games that were closer to coming out in the holiday time.
Right.
So like, for example, do we think behind closed doors in a secret room somewhere, they're showing media Super Mario Wonder?
Definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
I think that would be a good idea.
I think so too.
I think that is completely distinct from whatever's happening at Nintendo Live.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Now, we've pondered this question ourselves. Why not do a Treehouse Live where you show off Super Mario Wonder to the
masses.
the teeming crowds
of grandmas.
of excited Nintendo fans and grandma? And why don't you live stream that as well to the people who want to tune in to something exciting?
And that is a game coming out really soon this before the holiday season.
That seems like that would be a great addition to your programming at a Nintendo Live. If you had one small little thing that was just a little
do some gameplay from it.
Just do something from that.
Yeah. Well, we don't know. We don't know what
Probably not going to happen.
But probably not.
Why not? We'll get to that in a second. But first, we asked our Patreon subscribers what they thought was going to happen at Nintendo Live. So the question was, do you think they're going to stick to what they're saying or they're going to be some surprises? 77% of people said it will focus on currently available games with no other surprises, just like they say on the website.
Yeah.
So people...
Very reasonable.
People believe
and they've read the website. Good.
Now again, on the Nintendo Direct expectation management, they often say, for games launching this calendar year. They don't always do that, so it's not like they always literally follow what's written on the page.
Yeah.
In this case, though, people seem to think they will.
Yeah.
12% said there won't be a Nintendo Direct, but they will surprise us by having some unreleased games playable there. So kind of what we were just talking about, like maybe Mario Wonder could have some sort of
Mario RPG,
sneaky
like
presence,
yeah.
right? 10% say there will be a Nintendo Direct this week.
Oh.
And some of those unreleased games they showcased will be at Nintendo Live.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, Nintendo has done historically a Direct in September. We'll get to that in a little bit.
Right.
But possible.
Even those people do not have as much faith as the 1% who responded, Switch 2 will be there, I just know it.
Who is this? Like one person that did
These people are just saying a prayer. It's going to happen.
Manifest.
Now, one person has already lost a bet.
Oh,
in our community. Like Pikmin Sneezekov had to take a bet that the Switch 2 would be announced at Gamescom. Didn't happen.
Where our hair is not pink, so there we go.
We're scot-free here.
Scot-free.
Right, clean as can be. Let's look at some of these comments. Kyle LeBoeuf says, Nintendo is all about expectation management, and they've gone through great lengths to remind everyone that this event won't be focused on upcoming games. I believe that the Nintendo of today is too conservative to exceed expectations when it comes to live events. Snozzle! So happy we got a comment from Snozzle. Says, I think if there was going to be a surprise, if anything, it might be on the stranger side of the unexpected, like the replica of Mario's boots. I like the way Snozzle's thinking.
That's true. Nintendo is zany.
I like this.
We get Mario's gloves.
Right. I like the way
Could be anything.
I like this.
I like that.
And finally,
I'd be okay with that.
Robot Penguin says, the Switch 3 will be there, skipping 2 altogether.
What about VezVez?
I love the big brain stuff. Oh, shoot. I missed one. I can still read it, though. VezVez says, I would love it if there was something fun and unexpected there, but I'm banking on them doing exactly as they have advertised for this. I hope they do have some other surprises there, but I think if they do, they will still be for games that are already out or that we know about.
Aha.
Okay.
Can you read Robot Penguins again? Because you read it wrong and the joke didn't.
The Switch 3 will be there, skipping 2 altogether. What did I say?
You said the Switch 2 would be there, skipping 2 altogether, which doesn't make any sense. You
Well,
really have a bad time reading these comments. Anyways.
I've really failed.
But yes, we all agree, I think, generally, that our expectations are muted. Perhaps, mayhaps, there'll be a teeny little surprise or two,
right.
But generally, is what you see on the website is probably what you're going to get at Nintendo Live. Yes?
Now, some people are looking beyond Nintendo Live.
Yeah, forget Nintendo Live. Let's talk about the real thing.
Going through their old calendars, crunching some numbers, doing intense math formulas.
Data analytics of
about
Nintendo Direct.
The history of Nintendo Directs in September.
Yeah.
Which there's definitely something to that.
There is something to that.
And
the dates are a little all over the place though in September.
Well, some people who are happening in the rumors community seem to suggest that a Nintendo Direct could happen as soon as next week. What do you think of that?
I think next week is too early.
Really?
I do. You think it's not?
What makes it too early?
I think they just maybe want like one. Well, you know what? Let me think about this more.
Now,
I'm really talking myself into this.
You typically operate with a lot of denial when it comes to Nintendo Directs. Like the last one that I was not here for, you were deep in denial. You refused to acknowledge.
I didn't want to do it without you.
That's called denial.
Well, it's your fault then.
But it happened.
Okay, hold on. Let me think this through. Okay, so next week I'm gonna look at a calendar.
Right.
Here we go. We're gonna analyze
this.
this.
September
We're really gonna analyze
4th,
this, you guys.
5th, the week of.
Okay, so
So September 4th is Labor Day. It's a holiday in the United States.
So maybe people are saying the week of the 4th at some
Announce
point.
it on the 5th for the 6th or on the 6th for the 7th.
Yeah.
Could happen.
Could happen. You know what? I take that back. It could happen because maybe they're trying to say, trying to do a thing where, we're coming off the high of PAX and Nintendo Live. People are thinking about Nintendo after the big event, even if there's nothing new announced there. People had a good time. Grandma is happy. Grandma's ready to react to a live Nintendo Direct. So yeah, you know what? I take that back. I think it's possible. I think it is as well. And yeah, I think they just see those as two completely different things where it's like, yeah, this is doing a fun thing for the the market in the US, but now we have this big global thing that's going to come up. Keep the Nintendo hype high.
Right, because again, we talked about this, 2 weeks ago we were saying, wow, Mario Wonder's coming out in 2 months. Now we're 2 weeks into that, so it's like a month and a half. We got to get the hype train going on this game.
Yeah, Mario Wonder, they need to really...
We can't wait too long.
They got to get going. The pre-orders will not wait for anyone.
So some scenario... Let's play this out.
Okay, I'm still at the calendar.
Media attending PAX and Nintendo Live.
They see it behind
come
closed
to our
doors.
meeting room. We'll show you Super Mario Wonder.
Yeah.
The embargo is matched to a Nintendo Direct
the
that
following
happens
week on Thursday.
On the 6th or the 7th.
That could happen.
That
is very Nintendo. We have done that before.
There are also people
that pre-screen a Direct.
I was going to say something else, actually.
Oh, okay.
But that's also a possibility.
You could pre-screen the Direct
if you wanted to do that.
media there. They've done that before.
And people have been noting that a lot of high-profile media and content creators have been visiting Nintendo New York recently. Uh-huh. Is there anything to that? I don't know. It could just be a coincidence.
It could be a coincidence. But it could be because they can't go to the West Coast for PAX. Maybe they're trying to get them to get that same experience.
Possible.
You cover all of your outlets.
Possible.
Across the...
I don't know if that... I don't know if there's any significance to that.
I don't know. There were some rumors about, potentially GameCube stuff. There was, some rumblings about
that was the
recently.
thing. That was the thing also. It was the rumors were more than just, hey, I'm hearing there might be a Nintendo Direct. It was
there was more
and here's what it could be.
It could be, yeah.
Right.
gotta, when there's smoke, there is fire.
Like people
guys.
were saying, like, oh, it might have a big Mario theme. Like, yeah, that makes sense. And like, oh, there might be some GameCube games. It's like, well, this Metroid Prime 2 thing has been
rumored for so long.
for a while,
Yeah.
and you know, our good friend Jeff Grubb was talking about that for months now.
And
so
that's got to be. I mean, they saw such success with the first.
All that seems plausible.
Very plausible.
All that seems plausible. So I'm glad you dug yourself out of the pit of denial.
I've come around. It could be the week after too. The week of.
It could.
Yeah. I am going on vacation starting on the 18th. So if Nintendo...
Do you just want to read off your calendar to the good people? You're deep in your to-do list right now.
I'm happy to. But if Nintendo, if you could please just have the direct before I leave, that'd be fantastic. Thanks. Thank you. I would appreciate that.
Who said you needed to be involved?
Oh.
I
like to be involved.
I'm not in denial about anything. My eyes are open.
Open your mind.
Open your eyes.
Open your mind.
The bigger the brain takes, the better.
Okay, great. I think we've come around.
I think we've really charted out the course of what could happen over the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah, how exciting! I love this.
Again, this is why I said at the top, if I worked at Nintendo right now, I'd be incredibly stressed out.
Be really busy, yeah. And this is
I wouldn't like it.
This is really the start of the busy time because, you know, leading up to the holiday, you got tons of launches to work on. There's so much to do. So deep breath if you are at work and toiling away in your email jail because it's going to be like that for about 3-4 months. So deep breath.
A lot of, did you see my email? Oh, when did you send it? 1 minute, 30 seconds ago? Well, I was in the bathroom. I don't care.
Or, you need to do this task by 9 a.m. tomorrow. Oh, by the way, I sent you an email at 11 p.m.
It's 11 p.m.
It's 11 p.m. right now. But you need to do this by 9 a.m.
Have this
tomorrow.
done by 9 a.m.
I'll see you at 9. Bye.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
All right, let's get on to our story time, which is, this is going to be part 1 of a 2-parter, but the part 2 may not be happening next week because we have the big PAX episode.
Yeah.
So we might have to find.
And part 2 is, I don't know. Part 2 may be like some group therapy because something happened in part 2 that I think you and I need to hash out still.
Oh, all right, fine.
Okay, so part 1 though. Part 1.
Part 1. I wouldn't say this is the lighthearted half of it.
The whole thing sounds like it could have been lighthearted, but we really had some dicey times.
So we went on a trip in, I think this was 2018.
I think so too, yeah.
To New York, you and I did, to do 2 things. We were going to film the Nintendo Minute shopping spree video at Nintendo New York.
And this was part 2 of that video.
Right.
So we had done one at the
Not the one
store.
where you freaked out. It was the one where you lost because you lost them all, to be clear.
Yes.
Had to just scoreboard for the people, keeping track at home.
This was the famous cash money. What?
That is an all-time.
When I look completely befuddled.
Cash money. What does that mean?
I don't know.
You know what it means. What are you talking about?
I was completely my brain was blank. My mind was blank. I could not process.
You know exactly what it means.
I looked at that piece of paper like it was a different language. It was unbelievable. I don't know why.
Producer Hannah was speaking to you in code or something.
I literally melted down in that video.
Well, this is why you lost.
And that's exactly why.
The other thing we did was we did an event also at the Nintendo New York store for Super Mario Party, which is a game that we were both working on.
Why were we working on that game? That's so weird.
Because it was a game that was coming out.
I know, but
that we were assigned to.
You were still doing PR stuff at the time? I guess you were, weren't you?
There was a time as I was transitioning into the new job where it's like, well, we need to find the other person to do your old job, so you get to do both jobs.
That happened to me too.
For 6 to 8 months.
I did 2 jobs too because I also did the same thing. I moved to a new job, but they couldn't backfill me. So I just did 2 jobs.
That wasn't particularly great.
So that's what that was? You were doing both?
Yes.
Because I was like, this is an event that you probably wouldn't be involved in these days.
Well, I was very loosely involved. So we had an interesting arrangement for that one.
We did. This is the best.
Which was like, hey, I'm doing 2 jobs now, and I really dislike event planning. And the event was also for kids and parents.
Yeah.
Which you are not a kid lover, let's just say.
Yeah, not to offend anyone, but I'm not the best.
With kids.
Shockingly, a person that worked at Nintendo and that has a family-friendly podcast, I'm not really great with kids, let's just say that. It's not the kids, it's me, honestly. But anyways, I didn't really want to attend this event,
right.
I guess, because it was gonna be overrun with children, and I was gonna be like, it would have not been good for me.
So we struck a deal.
We struck a deal, like a back room deal, where you were really busy. I was like, I will handle all of the event planning. I'll do everything leading up to the event. But once we get to New York, I don't attend the event.
It was such a great deal for me.
It was perfect for me too.
It's a win-win.
It was a win-win-win, honestly. It was perfect because I actually really love event planning, and I think I'm pretty good at it too.
Yeah, definitely.
So it was easy for me to plan it, no problem.
Oh, good.
And I didn't want to show up to it because So you showed up to it and just like sort of watched over the event as it happened.
Right.
I got a beautiful breakfast.
What was it? You did?
I did an aerial yoga class. I love aerial yoga.
What is aerial yoga? Please tell us.
It's basically yoga, but with these long like silks, and there's a lot of like flipping and twisting, and you're like upside down a lot. I was a gymnast for a long time, so I really love like any kind of acrobatic stuff. And there's a great aerial yoga studio in New York City that I love, that I usually go to only when I'm in New York City. And that was what I did during the hours there was like a 3-hour event or something. I went and like got a nice breakfast. I went to the aerial yoga class that I booked with like my favorite instructor. I got like a juice afterwards. I took a nice walk. I was like, this is the best day ever. So yeah, it was a perfect deal. It worked out great.
So yeah, then after that we met up again and we hung out for a while, and then we came back in the evening to shoot the Nintendo Minute after the store had closed. So it was kind of a long day.
It was a really long day.
But anyway, getting there was a bit stressful. So these flights from San Francisco to New York, they're very long. Oftentimes you got to get up really early because you got the time difference.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, get on an 8 a.m. flight and you land in
at like 5.
JFK at like 4 or 5, and then you've got the hour and a half of the worst taxi ride of your life.
That's the worst taxi ride.
Jerking, stopping, smells weird.
Traffic. You go by the Jamaica Hospital, and you think your life is going to end.
The Lincoln Motor Lodge.
And then you're like, I'm not even close.
Imagine the bad things that are happening there.
You haven't eaten all day. Right. You're hungry and cranky, and you smell like the airplane. It's not great. Anyways.
Right. So we were on one of those. Seated next to each other on the plane, and we get into the last hour or so, and it's like, great, we're excited to get off this plane, get going.
Wait a second though, before that even, it was like really dicey.
You're confused. That was something else.
That was something else?
Yes. That was a different flight to New York.
Okay, never mind. Okay, continue.
But yeah, it's getting to be about that time where you would do the descent, and we start going down a little bit, and it seems fine, and then the captain comes on, he's like, everybody, we got a little mechanical problem. It's like, oh, well, those are words you don't really want to hear, but okay, what is it?
Especially when you're about to land?
Yeah, what is it? So the landing gear is not coming out when we hit the button. We're going to try some stuff. Let's see what we figure out.
They always go like
the way they talk,
and it's always like a really long pause. And I question, I'm like, do you know what you're doing? Are you sure you understand how to fly this plane? Are we gonna die?
So they start. So they're circling
a long
as they try to figure out how to get the landing gear to come out.
Eventually, you run out of fuel.
I wouldn't say what. That's not what happened.
I know, but eventually.
Eventually you would. Well. So I remember there was like a similar situation, like a JetBlue. Is JetBlue still around? By the way, I don't think they are.
I don't know. Maybe they shuttered.
They had something like that happen where only the back landing gear came out, and they had to do a landing where they just skidded. And I remember watching that on the TV from an airplane.
That's not a good idea.
I was like, what's happening now? I hope that never happens to me. It almost did. I wouldn't say that I'm like a nervous flyer.
You're not. It used to be worse.
I don't I don't really love flying though, because if you think about it too much, it's like, wow, we really shouldn't be doing this.
A giant
metal
tube
shooting through the sky.
In the sky.
Right.
Yeah. No,
so stuff like that makes me nervous because it's like, oh, this is the human error that can happen when you put your life in this thing's hands.
You don't even go on roller coasters, let alone you shouldn't be on an airplane.
Now, when I heard this announcement, I got nervous. You seem to have no reaction at all.
Well, I was like, it's gonna be fine.
What kind of medication had you put yourself under for this flight?
My thing is that
19 Bloody Marys in the morning. What was it?
You can't think too much about these kinds of things. Or else
well, you can think a little bit.
Tie yourself into a knot.
You can think a little bit.
Not live your life at all. If you think too carefully about everything, what am I going to do? I'm on this plane. If this thing goes down, then that's what it is.
You're just like, huh. Anyway, back to Picross. Like, what? And actually nobody on the plane seemed to have any, sometimes think, if you get, bad turbulence, some of the people are like, oh! This sort of stuff will happen. People seem, stressed out. Nobody's like, nobody cared. I'm like, is it just me? This seems bad.
It's just, I think we were all thought, the pilot knows what they're doing, we're going to be fine. They're going to figure it out.
Okay. So eventually we stop circling and we start getting into the descent, the home stretch.
Yeah.
And the captain had not yet come back with any sort of announcement to say, yeah, it's been resolved, or no, we're just going in, it's going to be rough, strap in, something like that. And normally when the gear comes out, you can kind of hear it or feel it, you know? You can feel oh, there's some resistance on the plane.
Yeah.
I heard and felt no such thing. And again, you seem to be like, whatever, big deal. We're landing. It's like, did the thing come out or not? I need to know.
You did reach over and pull my seatbelt really tight. I was like, oh my God, calm down.
You might need to hunker down for this. And eventually we landed. Somehow they got the wheels out. They just didn't tell us. It didn't seem like they came out at all.
And
it was fine.
You seem very scared.
There's a lot
that can go wrong on a plane, but you definitely don't want to think about it too deeply, is my point.
No. So this was truly the start of a very chaotic trip.
Yeah, it really was.
Part 2 gets even more chaotic.
Yeah.
Look forward to that in a matter at least 2 weeks, maybe longer. I don't know.
No, we don't know.
In the future.
You might be on pins and needles for a little while, and I don't know if I'm ready to talk about it yet. So.
Really?
I don't know. We have to. We really need to work through this one. I think,
all right.
It might be one of those podcast episodes where we needed a BetterHelp therapist or something.
Incredible segue. It's time to thank our next sponsor. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp.
There you go.
Wow, thank you. Sometimes you're trying to sleep in your bed, but you just can't because you have so many thoughts racing through your mind. They're keeping you awake, stopping you from relaxing, stopping you from enjoying the rest of your life.
This happens to me all the time. Seriously. This is a real issue.
A lot of people have this.
I know a lot of people have this. I know I'm not alone. But I really do get this where I just can't shut off my mind. Because I'm thinking, I literally have a to-do list in my head all the time. And it can be very stressful, and I think sometimes you really do need to have someone that's a professional that can talk to you about this kind of stuff. You really don't know sort of the mental toll this kind of thought process is taking on you until you talk to somebody. I didn't know until I talked to somebody.
Yes, it's something is bouncing around in your brain. When you talk about it, it has a way to get out.
Some sort of release. And they're going to provide you with really practical ways to deal with it.
Right. So even if it is a complex problem that doesn't have an easy solution, that will help you feel better and get you on the path to resolving whatever it is that is bothering you.
Yeah, and it'll allow you to see a different perspective. When you're just in your own head, it can be a little scary because you're just in an echo chamber of your own stress,
Right.
So letting it out and having someone share a different perspective is really, really helpful. And they make it so easy. You take a quiz, and you're matched with a licensed therapist, and you can talk to them any way too, which is great. Phone, email, text, video, all the things.
Very convenient, very flexible, very easy to fit into whatever busy schedule that you might have. Get a break from your thoughts with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/KitandKrysta today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/KitandKrysta.
I'll put the link right over here and in the description below.
All right, into the games we're playing. This is fun with Roman numerals for you.
Oh my God, I looked at this and I was like, wait, what?
So read the two games.
The games are Diablo 4 and Armored Core 6.
Great, you got it.
I almost had a
Good.
reverse moment there.
As we said at the top, we are not talking about Starfield. Look for our full video on that this Thursday with some very, very deep impressions of everything we played there.
About that.
But we've still been playing some other stuff.
Yes. Well, okay. We're
start with Diablo.
I feel bad. I do think we should go back to Diablo, though.
I agree.
I have a little time on
I agree.
So I think you had a great goal in mind of us making it to level 50 so we can look at the Paragon
I mean
stuff.
that's not a crazy goal or anything.
No, I
we
think
were
it's
very
great.
close.
I was thinking that's great.
We were
That's
super
perfect.
close.
It seems very reachable, and it seems like we're gonna get there. We're like all in our 40s at this point, so yeah, and that unlocks this new thing that I don't even know anything about. I'm excited to learn more about that. I do kind of like how this game, gives you ways to discover stuff along the way, which is what we've been doing mostly as we've been playing through and leveling up and figuring out our skills and stuff. So
yeah.
I like that a lot so far.
Yeah, the day the Starfield codes came through, the violence with which you canceled the evening plans to play Diablo
I'm not available for you.
Was intense.
I was like,
this is never happening again.
I'll be playing Starfield from now until I die, so I'll see you never.
Something we did get into a bit more in the time we played were these things called strongholds.
Yeah, the strongholds are fun.
Which we did a couple of these, and they're sort of like above ground dungeons where it's kind of positioned as like a siege situation.
Yes.
So we found one. There was like this town that had been overrun with demons. What was the other one we did? It was sort of a.
It was like it was like a graveyard.
Yeah.
There was like you had to like unlock the different skeletons. Like they would drop these like things for you to put into the altar.
Right.
It was really
Right.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So the game definitely has like a lot of different. Riffs on the idea of a dungeon
Yeah.
or sort of a short intense battle that you have to go through. I always like anything that has sort of like a siege setting or like a raid setting in sort of an enclosed area.
Yeah, me too. I like how it Assassin's Creed games has a lot of those kind of siege.
Oh yeah, the Borgia Towers.
The Borgia Towers.
Yes.
I like the one in Diablo a lot because it's not super long and drawn out. Sometimes it can get like a little bit like, I've been sieging this tower for like 3 hours.
Right.
Like, I'm kind of done. But these are like pretty quick.
Yeah.
And you get some really good rewards. We found like a bunch of like those Lilith shrines, which just like alters your
it's like a permanent boost that you can get.
Permanent stat boost, which is awesome. So you feel like you're getting a lot of rewards for doing this like quick little side thing, and it's not really distracting you from the main storyline, which is really nice.
Right. So they did announce at Gamescom the next season of Diablo, which I think is starting in October. But yeah, I don't think we're ready to say goodbye to these characters or this. I mean, we've been playing it a lot. I think we've got to be getting close to finishing the main story too. And there's so much. There's so much of the map that we have not even seen.
Yeah.
And that's something I was having a lot of fun with just getting through the map.
Yeah, you were really good. You had like gotten all these waypoints before, so all I had to do is teleport to you and get the waypoint. It's really nice.
It's honestly kind of what I did in Tears of the Kingdom, where it's like the first thing I want to do is just get this map in place and have all my fast travel in place.
I get it. Yeah, I get it. It feels good. It feels good.
Yeah, so I think once we get past the Starfield embargo and it's not like, oh my gosh, I can't do anything else, I'll feel a bit more comfortable to
like do a little
add some other things to the
you can like
routine.
multitask a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, we definitely wanted to just give our full attention to it right now because we want to make the video for you guys.
Right.
So
right.
yeah.
So maybe we'll be coming back to Diablo in the future. But yeah, we got codes from Bandai Namco. Thank you for Armored Core 6. I have not had a chance to check it out, but you have, so I'm very excited to hear what you thought.
Yeah, I know this is such a weird sort of twist of events, I think, because I just never thought I would be like good enough to ever play a From Software game. Like I never thought I could even get close to, beating Elden Ring, and then I did, and I was like, this is a new me. I'm a new person now. And yeah, when they announced Armored Core at TGA, I was like, I'd never played this game before. I know very little about this franchise. I know you have played before.
I haven't played it, but I knew of it.
Oh, you knew of it. I didn't even know of it. I like literally knew nothing about this except that they were from the same developers. And on paper, it's a game that I would normally not. It would not be the first on my list.
Do you like mechs?
I do like mechs.
Okay.
I do like mechs. And I do like, like the idea of controlling something so powerful. That part of it is really appealing. But I was really intimidated because I started reading some of the reviews coming out for Armored Core. Our good friend Jean posted this like pretty long kind of just primer for it, and I was like, uh-oh. I was really nervous because I was like, this seems so hard. Like, how can I even...
I think what I saw, what he was talking about was like, get ready for the gameplay loop where you're spending a lot of time tinkering with the mech.
Yeah.
But then, once the game came out, I started to see people saying like, wow, I can't even get past the tutorial.
Yeah.
So that was what made me nervous. Because I was like, I know this series has a lot of fiddling around, but I don't know that I always associated it with like the Souls level difficulty.
Yeah.
So it is.
It is.
Wow.
It is. I got through the tutorial. I was so freaking proud of myself.
Yeah.
I was like, I can play a Souls game now.
You beat it
I
one!
can do this.
You can beat Armored Core 6.
I can beat this game.
Yeah.
It drops you right in, to doing the combat. Like, it's very combat forward, which I really like.
And it's pretty fast too, right?
I love the movement in this game. Like, I don't know, I can't put my finger on it. I'm really bad at describing this because I'm not a game developer, but there's something about the way that you move around that feels like very tactile. Like, you're definitely in a mech.
It's like friction,
there's
stickiness,
there's
maybe?
stickiness, but there's also this like kind of like this boost, kind of like real like flighty kind of movement as well. So the way that they combine those two is genius. Like, it feels really good. Like, you're just like, you feel really like the controls are super responsive. You feel, kind of very stable, but also very nimble at the same time. So the first part of the game, the tutorial part, you're kind of getting used to like the movement. They kind of start you off on some smaller enemies. They teach you like different things that you can do with, multi-targeting, and you have missiles and a gun.
And at this point, there's no customization in the tutorial. It's like, here's the thing you are using, right?
That's right.
Right, okay.
Yeah, and you have like a couple of repair kits, and that's it. And you can run out of stuff. Like, it's
bullets?
Like, yeah, it's like your arm cannon is 30%.
Is there any melee, like last resort sort of stuff?
There is a melee. It's almost like a big sword slash, which felt really good, cool. And it looked really cool. So you get through like the first part of it. It's very like linear. Collect these things, go and try to get an ID, because you're like sort of like a rogue mech basically. And you go and do that, and you're like, okay, this is going pretty good. Like, this is not hard. It's fine. You're like kind of getting used to the movement and stuff like that, but it's not like super hard. And then you get to the last bit of that tutorial, and it's literally like a boss fight. And that boss fight was so hard.
What was the boss?
It's a giant helicopter mech that's like shooting missiles at you. Flying crazily. And you have a big boost, so you can really like almost fly yourself, but it's very limited. It has like a meter that goes down. I was doing some crazy finger gymnastics to be able. I was like pressing like 3 buttons at once on this controller, and like my hand was like really cramped. I tried, I will say, probably at least 15 times.
Oh, wow.
But I did it. At the very end, I did it. And then it unlocks all the customization.
Yeah.
So you get like a bunch of parts from the big helicopter. And then it takes you into like the mech customization screen.
Is it Souls-like, where when you die, you have to go back to where you die to get your stuff? Like, how does it handle dying if you're dying so much?
It just, at the next checkpoint, you revive. So it wasn't bad.
And you have everything.
You have everything.
Okay, so it's not exactly.
You get all your repair kits back. You get all that stuff back. So it's actually not. It was fast. Like,
yeah.
That's why you can play it over and over again. It's not a big deal. I feel like, yeah, for like Souls games, it is also like, yes, you have to get your stuff, but you can pick it back up like fairly quickly. Like, you're not like backtracking forever just to get back to the boss. So that's pretty good. Yeah, and then I can see where the tinkering and the customization gets really deep. because I just got like 3 different parts and I was like comparing all the different stats and kind of trying different things out a little bit. I can see how that can just really be like a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I immediately made my robot pink, so that's exciting.
Oh, you can do that right away.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
There's a lot of different colors and cool.
I saw the Kirby.
I really want the Kirby, and you can do a custom design. So yeah, you can do. Can
you
download?
import it? Can you import?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think you must be able to because I've seen people like posting them.
Okay, maybe I should try that because I really want the Kirby Robobot mech.
That's awesome.
It's one of my favorite games, so I can't wait to do that or like make one or something. But you can do a lot of customization. But yeah, and I kind of stopped there because I was like, I'm gonna stop on a high note because it might get really hard after this. But I was really proud of myself. I was like, oh, I could do this. It's really fun.
I have a very specific question that maybe only I care about. Okay. How big is the mech?
You are pretty big, like in comparison to some of the regular enemies that you're fighting. But I felt pretty small compared to that.
But do you see like, oh, I'm next to a skyscraper and I'm this
the
big.
The area that I was in was like pretty like ruined, like a dystopian landscape. But you look pretty big.
Okay.
Like it's like Transformers big.
It's like 20 feet?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. I think 15 or 20 feet.
But need to understand the mech size scale that we have in this game.
You don't feel small and you don't feel not powerful.
Right.
You do feel like you're capable.
Okay.
Even at the beginning.
Nice.
You're like, no, I have missiles. Like I can do this.
Good.
I feel good. I'm fast. Got boosts. I can fly around. I got jetpack. I feel good.
Yeah, I wonder how much when you get into the customization, because I'm sure there are some builds that are better than others.
Well, I was reading a lot about that, and there was like, okay, this is the boss shredder build that you guys need.
Yeah.
And it's like all these different things. I was like, oh.
Because you could probably take a hard game and make it way harder if you gave yourself a bad build, but you may not realize it.
Right.
This game's impossible now.
I know. And now it's one of those things where you get deep into that research again.
Yeah.
Like I always had to do that with Elden Ring.
Right. How do you get new parts?
It seems like...
Is it random drops or what?
Nobody was dropping parts, like none of the
tutorial
regular
I'm sure
enemies,
is different.
But like the boss fight dropped a bunch of parts. So I wonder if it's because when you fight a boss you get more, or maybe I don't know. Once you get into the main game,
I'll be curious to see that.
It's mission based too,
right?
So maybe like at the end of each mission you get like a reward. I don't know. So I need to look into that more. I'm gonna keep playing though. I'm
definitely intrigued.
It looks beautiful. It really does. It looks.
You're playing on PS5.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Really, really beautiful game.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
It is exciting.
You are really keeping true to your claim of playing all these games.
I told you.
Way to go. Let's get into the news. It was Gamescom late last week and into the weekend. We got a bunch of Gamescom stories to get us started. The PlayStation Portal, previously known as... What was the PlayStation Q? Project Q.
Project Q.
Project Q. That was it. Is no more. PlayStation Portal is the thing. PSP.
PSP.
Think of that. So this is coming out this year. It's going to cost $199. And they had a lot of videos showing off. They let people play it. It looks like it's going to have, the same sort of resistant triggers and feedback of the PS5 controller. But as far as the functionality, like it really is just what they were saying it was going to be.
Right.
Which is a portal into remote play.
Right.
On the PS5. So I guess it really comes down to how you feel about $200 to do that.
Yeah, and I will say that I really love the remote play for PlayStation. It works really well.
I tried it recently on the computer because I actually didn't even know that they had an app for that.
Yeah, I play it almost.
It's kind of buried on a random Sony website.
Yeah, no, it works
because
great
I was like,
on my laptop.
Because I had one time where I wanted to do Diablo on that, but I was like, I don't know if on my phone it might be too small and too tricky. And I tried it on my laptop. It was great.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a very good service. But there's a lot of ways to do it. A lot of gizmos out there. A lot of them let you just use your PS5 controller. So I am skeptical that this will be anything substantial.
Yeah, it seems like there's so many different options for you between, just connecting your laptop or your tablet. Or using what you were doing with the Backbone,
the
phone. That
Backbone's great.
Works really well. And it obviously is a much cheaper and or free solution if you already have a laptop, right? So yeah, I do wonder about this and how, sort of what niche it's filling or what need is filling for people if you can already do it all these other ways.
I mean, Sony seems to know that this streaming stuff is going to be important, cloud gaming, whatever you want to call it, but they seem to be struggling to really find the appropriate entry point into it. Because remember, they a few years ago, they acquired all these streaming companies and cloud companies, and they didn't really do all that much with them. They do have those games, mostly like PS3 games, because they can't properly emulate those that they need to do through streaming.
Yeah.
But it just has been sort of an awkward step into this world for them.
Yeah, and I agree. I think that this is the future. It's inevitable for us to get there, but how and how clean that's going to look seems to be a little bit trickier than maybe what people thought when we started this foray into cloud gaming.
The thing that's working in their favor is, and this was something that Microsoft was sort of owning up to in the acquisition of Activision, was like, it's actually not that big now. So I don't see this being a huge this-gen proposition. Like, there will be some people like us who are willing to, find the best way to do it and try out different interfaces and different devices. But it feels like next generation is where it's going to be more integrated, more front and center, more for the regular player to want to engage with. So in a sense, like, if they're kind of feeling things out with a device like this and maybe understanding the market and what people are willing to pay for something like this,
it's a good experience.
Maybe that's okay. That said, I'm absolutely not going to buy one.
Yeah, I don't think I need it, honestly, because I usually will play on my laptop and it works perfectly fine. I don't mind carrying around my DualSense controller.
And that's the thing, that they are like, oh, well, and you get the official, Sony controls. It's like, well, I can do that with my
your controller
the PS5 controller that I have now. So it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Doesn't matter. Yeah. So interesting stuff. I'll be interested to learn more about like what kind of the people who buy this, like what is it that.
Well, tell us if you plan on buying this. I want to know why and what sort of need it's filling for you.
It kind of the PSP naming kind of reminded me of the PSP Go. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
So that was a late generation version of the PSP that kind of had the same problem, where it was a digital only piece of hardware at a time where the idea of going digital only was crazy.
It was insane.
Like, what do you mean digital only? Who's going to do that? I want to have these UMDs. I have all these UMD movies. I need to watch Shrek on my UMD movie.
UMD ever.
What am I going to do? And it didn't really take off, but it was, again, an early step towards these sort of technological evolution. You just kind of have to work these out. Like you're not going to have it perfect on the first try,
Exactly.
So maybe that's an apt comparison point.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Interested to see how this goes in the next hardware generation, though.
Yes.
Because I think it is going to be part of our future.
Yeah. This next story is very interesting. So, our guy Phil Spencer was at Gamescom, wheeling and dealing in the private meeting rooms. So we got this tweet from Larian Studios, kind of in the moment, and I'll just read it. Super happy to confirm that after meeting Phil Spencer yesterday, we found a solution that allows us to bring Baldur's Gate 3 to Xbox players this year still, something we've been working towards for quite some time. All improvements will be there with split-screen co-op on Series X. Series S will not feature split-screen co-op.
That's us!
But will also include cross-save progression between Steam and Xbox Series. So this game is coming out... is it next week? Very soon on PS5. Fully featured with same features as the PC version, which has been out now for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
The Xbox version is just TBD. Right. And they've been very clear of saying...
We're working through some stuff.
We have this co-op feature, split-screen co-op, which is a big part of the game. We cannot get it to work on the Series S. So we don't know what to do. And people have been pointing out this guideline that Microsoft has, which says any major feature in your game, you need to ship it that it'll work on both versions of the Xbox Series. So they're so like we don't know what to do. We'll keep trying, but we can't release the game until we get a solution for this. So, Phil did a boss move here. And
said, it's okay.
He found a solution.
Give you a pass.
Yeah, and I mean, some people were really throwing the book at Phil at hey, these are your rules. You can't do it. I was like, well, guess what? I can break the rules.
He's the boss.
I'm Phil Spencer. I'll do what I want. Right.
Yeah.
So, clearly you could see sort of the calculations that were going through his head where it's this is a strategically important title for Xbox.
Yeah.
One that our competitor is going to get a lot of mileage out of and is going to use as a talking point against Starfield. It is very advantageous for us to have this.
At least in some function.
Right. Great piece of software on here. So in this case, I will
make an exception.
Bend the rule. This point about the cross-save progression, maybe that was the compromise point that they came up with, where it's you need to do some other thing. I don't know if that is, I actually don't know if that's in the PS5 version or not. But maybe that was the olive branch. I was like, all right, fine, we'll do something else to make up for this omission. We are both Xbox Series S owners.
We are.
I'll ask you again, how do you feel about this?
It's a PS5?
Huh?
It's a PS5.
Well, I'm definitely getting the PS5 version. I was always going to get the PS5 version.
That's true.
Right.
I was always going to get the PS5 version as well.
I mean, that's how both of us really look at multi-platform games.
Right.
Is unless there's some great reason to get it on Xbox, we'll get it on PS5.
Right.
And of course, Game Pass is our main thing on the Xbox.
Yeah. Yeah, the Series S, I've had no complaints about the power of the system, the way the games look and function.
Yeah.
Game Pass, all of that stuff works great. It is a teensy bit disappointing, I will say, that this is a pretty big part of the game. You and I are going to be playing co-op for this game. So it feels a little bit disappointing that it doesn't work across all of the Xbox Series.
Oh.
That's how I feel.
What are you going to do, though?
Nothing. I'm playing on PS5.
What was there some other solution you would have liked to seen them explore?
No, I if they can't figure it out, then that's what it is. It's just too bad, Yeah,
I wonder how that gets communicated out beyond a tweet from the top guy at Larian.
Exactly.
Because that is important if you're not following along to
right. What if you did get it and you thought
tweets?
It would work?
Yeah, you're like, I've heard of Baldur's Gate. I'll play that with so and so, and then it doesn't work. There has to be a giant disclaimer on the
screen code will not work on Series S.
game page or on the box or
whatever. I mean, that's that's not just some little function of the game that is omitted.
It's big.
It's a big part of the game that you cannot experience if you're playing on this system. So.
Right. Also at Gamescom, there's a lot of scuttlebutt about how developers are not happy that the Series S exists and that how this is holding them back from
a thorn in their side,
from their great development aspirations.
Okay, interesting.
On the Xbox, having to deal with this lowest common denominator piece of hardware.
Okay, no, I understand that.
How do you feel about that?
I'm not a developer, but I feel like that would be really difficult. If you had aspirations to make this game and it's going to function great on an X, on PS5, that would be a PC. That would be disappointing. You're I'm missing out on this huge platform. I want to have my game available on as many platforms as possible, but now you can't. That kind of sucks.
I'm
You're
Googling
frantically.
I'm trying to find out what percentage of the Xboxes that have been sold are Series S. I can't find this out.
That's going to be hard.
I think the flip side to that is, that is a major part of the people who own a current generation Xbox.
Yeah.
So I think it's that's a potential consumer, a potential player for your game.
Right.
So I think you might need to, instead of just being this is holding me back, this stinks, it's
find a way.
Maybe embrace it.
I do wonder also, like, as we're thinking about this, like, who is the person that buys a Series S and who is the person that buys a Series
So
S?
why did we buy a Series S?
Well, you bought mine for me, so why did you buy it for me?
Well, I bought a Series S because at the time it was impossible to get a Series X.
There you go.
Very famously, I had a deal set with a mutual friend of ours, you know who?
Oh, that
who
person.
said, "Hey, I am
covered.
getting an extra Series X. I will sell it to you." And I said, "Yes, I want to jump on that." And then the next day came, and he said, "Yeah, I don't have it." And at that point, this was like right before Halo Infinite came out, and I was starting to get the FOMO. So I was like,
I was playing Halo Infinite with all of our other friends.
I don't care.
Series S.
I don't care. I'll just buy the Series S because that's what was available.
Yeah.
And I honestly have not felt like I've missed out
Right.
one bit.
I haven't either.
I think we are both in the category of people who can't really tell the difference of 4K versus 1080.
I really can't.
So I honestly just have this thing set to 1080.
Don't at me. I can't.
It looks great. I haven't seen games that run like weird or badly on it.
No.
So it's been fine. I mean, certainly it's not as powerful as the Series X, but it does seem like that has been an important part of the generation for Xbox of
Right.
being able to have these two options. And Phil said also at Gamescom, he's like, this enables us to not have to do price cuts because we already have the low priced option.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting way to look at it too.
Right.
So yeah, I can understand on one hand, yes, if I'm trying to make a really high spec game that needs to be multi-platform,
Sure.
this is hard. But it's also, again, like this is look at it as an opportunity.
It's definitely an opportunity. I think my point of asking that question is I wonder if there's almost like a different audience that owns a Series S beyond the fact that you couldn't get it. Maybe this is a person that's like slightly more casual and looking at different types of games,
Well, I think there are probably a lot of people like us who also have the PS5 and just need something for Game Pass.
Yeah, so you have this like audience using it for a different purpose that you might want to be thinking about when you're developing games,
Mm-hmm.
Because that becomes like, if your game fits that criteria, that's an automatic buy for
Right.
them or Game Pass thing for them on Series S. Key stats of the X and S.
I'm not going to find this out.
Find this.
If anybody knows the percentage of Xbox sales that are X versus S, please leave a comment.
Benji. Benji!
Somebody,
tell us.
help us.
All right.
Let's move on. This is not a Gamescom story, but it is a bummer. BioWare, remember them?
Oh, yeah.
They have laid off 50 people
Not 50%.
from their staff, which I was shocked to learn later. That is 20% of their workforce.
Why is their workforce so teensy?
I was surprised that they did not have more people than that.
Gosh.
So their statement was, in order to meet the needs of our upcoming projects, continue to hold ourselves to the highest standards of quality, and ensure BioWare can continue to thrive in an industry that's rapidly evolving, we must shift towards a more agile and more focused studio. It will allow our developers to iterate quickly, unlock more creativity, and form a clear vision of what we're building before development ramps up. So basically, in order to make these games, we need to get rid of everybody who would make it. Got it? Thank you. There'll be no questions.
Interesting way of.
I mean, there's never a good way to write these.
There's never a good way to write
the poor
these.
communications person who gets assigned like write the statement.
Iterate on this like statement that's just gonna be bad.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's lame, but it is what
it comes down to money.
It is what it is.
Yeah, we all know.
So then it came out. There were some pretty notable people who got laid off. So there was the person who was the lead writer of Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 from a long time ago.
Whoa.
The person who was the lead writer of the first 3 Dragon Age games. I really had to remind myself that there'd been 3 Dragon Age games.
The Dragon Age 2 was great.
Like, what?
That was a great game.
So Dragon Age Inquisition, that won Game of the Year pretty widely. And I remember that. I think
that's the one. Was that 2?
That's 3. That's the 3rd Dragon Age.
Okay, then that's the one that I like.
In 2014, I think that won like Game Awards and all the other. It kind of swept Game of the Year.
Swept it.
2014. So and then I was checking like when was the last Mass Effect? So that came out in 2012, which is a lot.
So long.
A lot longer than I thought.
So what are they working on right now?
That's the thing. It's like I actually haven't.
Look at that up.
I haven't touched a BioWare game
in
over 10 years, really.
Yeah.
Like, let's look
what are their upcoming projects? What is
well,
BioWare's upcoming
so they
projects?
have a Dragon Age and a Mass Effect game in development.
Okay.
But you know, when you don't have anybody working there, it's going to take a while to make those.
Yeah.
So let's look at their development history here. Oh boy, this is very long. 2020s. This is, come on, Wikipedia. But anyway, that's what they have.
Okay.
They've sort of
Dragon Age 4 and Mass Effect. Oh,
they've
that's
offloaded the
Legendary
work
Edition.
on they still have the Star Wars MMO, but they've mostly offloaded that to sort of an external
I see.
company
Okay.
to help with that. But they had Anthem, which was the game that kind of broke them, that live service game that was a major investment.
And also just a resource suck, I think.
Yeah, and they, you know, it's well chronicled that game was just a mess in terms of development. So it's a bummer because they are really one of the legends of kind of this new era of role-playing games.
Yeah, that's too bad.
And you look at like the legacy of, you know, Baldur's Gate 3, like, hey, they did Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. So you kind of wonder about this alternate reality where they just kept down that path. Maybe they were the ones making Baldur's Gate 3.
But could Baldur's Gate 3 be what it is today if they made it versus Larian? We don't know.
I don't know. But I mean, clearly first of all, EA owns them. So they're getting a lot of marching orders from EA of make this kind of game. So they moved away from that style of, you know, more PC-oriented RPG to make something that has more of a mass appeal. And then Anthem, honestly, I didn't play Anthem. It doesn't strike me as a real RPG type of game. It just seems like a Destiny looter shooter type of thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
So they moved in a completely different direction. It just hasn't worked out.
I don't think it's paid off for them. Yeah.
So it's sad because they were you know, really
they were like the pioneers.
A legendary studio.
Yeah. It's unfortunate to think about that. They might not be making those kinds of games anymore, or they might just take a lot longer to make those kinds of games because they're.
And you also think of
staff is so
again, now that
tiny.
you've laid off all these like people who were there from the beginning, it's like who is at this studio, and do they have any connection to these old games that were actually great?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Your legacy is like you've severed it at this point.
Yeah, what is BioWare? I don't know. They did also infamously make that Sonic the Hedgehog DS game.
Oh yeah,
which people say is good.
People say it is good.
That was a zany.
That's a very weird.
That was extremely
out
unexpected.
of left field. Yeah,
and zany at the time.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's so sad. I hope everything is.
Oh, here we go. List of BioWare video games. Let's see what we got coming up. So,
That go down to 2020 or whatever. 2020.
Mass Effect Andromeda, that was a mess.
Oh yeah.
Anthem. And yeah, then they have these two, Dragon Age, Dreadwolf, and new Mass Effect, both of which are TBA.
So the last thing that released was in 2021.
And that was just a re-release of Mass Effect, the Mass Effect trilogy. Mass Effect was so good. I know you cringe when I tell you to play Mass Effect.
Well, I'm not going to play it now. The studio's on shaky ground.
Well, play the first three. Those games are incredible. And that was like,
maybe.
Oh my gosh.
You know, I might be able to enjoy it now. I'm a different person than I was back then.
Oh, really?
Now I'm like into like these kinds of games.
Oh, okay.
So.
Well, that's exciting.
Anyways.
We need to move on. That is the news. Now into some questions from our Patreon community. We get them all from Patreon, and we're starting with Mike Chin. What is your favorite video game title screen? Very to the point.
Oh, video game title screen. I think I like the title screens for the games that have a very unique art style. So like Yoshi's Woolly World, Kirby's Canvas, well, no, what is that one?
Kirby's Canvas Curse.
Canvas Curse,
right?
yeah, Kirby's
That's
Canvas
a game.
Curse.
Sure.
Paper Mario, like those are really nice because you can right away get a sense of like, oh, this is like a very different way to look at a Yoshi game or a Mario game. Yeah, so I think those ones are my favorite.
I have a slam dunk answer to this. Do you know what it is?
Cruisin' Blast?
Title screen, not title song.
I know, but that title screen's pretty good.
No, it's strictly the music. Let me give you a hint. It is my screen I have on every single device that I own.
Oh, Metroid.
No!
Oh, Mega Man.
Mega Man 2.
Mega Man 2.
Mega Man 2. So, yes, I have, like, on my laptop, that's my wallpaper. On my
You
phone,
got a phone,
that will
yeah.
always be my wallpaper. On
You do
anything
like
that I can
that.
customize the wallpaper, it will be that.
Okay.
It will be that.
Okay.
I have this artwork framed in my house too.
Okay.
It will be that. So
You
it's
really
like
like
Mega Man on the skyscraper.
I gave you that framed piece.
Great, thank you. But you don't even know what it is. With the helmet off, the hair flowing, looking out at night over the city.
The city, yeah.
There's something that extremely resonates with me.
You like a night cityscape.
I really do.
You like
you know the
vibey
thing
night
I think I
cityscape
like to
that
see
you
this
like.
in real life too. When you look out and some buildings have those flashing like red lights on it. I think it's so like planes
It's for planes don't crash on
don't
it.
crash.
Yeah.
But I really like that.
Yeah.
I remember one time I stayed at a hotel in Tokyo, and
Tokyo has a lot of
and
those.
I just like spend so much time like looking out the window and just like staring at the cityscape and those pulsing lights.
You're getting like hypnotized.
You kind of do.
Yeah.
So I can't explain it. I don't know what it is, but that is an aesthetic that is extremely my vibe.
I get it.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Good answer.
Frulio asks, do you see... Oh, I can't wait to hear you talk about this. Do you see a future where Nintendo replaces human voice actors for AI voice?
Oh.
For example, could you see Mario's voice lines be AI generated? What about Link, Kirby, and Pikachu?
Yeah.
Well, for Link, it's easy for your computer to make no sound at all.
No sound at all. Yeah, that's good. And the Pikachu is easy because you just make one sound, just Pikachu.
Now we have,
Pika.
I think we have extremely different perspectives on this.
Yeah, I know you don't think this is possible at all. I feel like you think that this is just like, there's no way this could ever happen. Is that right?
I think it's unlikely, but I know you think it is, so tell us why.
Yeah, I do think I don't think maybe, 100% everything is going to be AI generated, but I do think that Nintendo would be open to new kinds of technology and options. This will definitely allow them to have that level of control that they really like to have and take out of the equation the volatile part of working with another human and not wanting to work with other humans at all because humans can go off and do things that they don't like, Yeah, and, I can see them at least considering that option.
Okay. I think, I see Nintendo as a company that really believes in like the human element of these creations, and you can expand that out to like, well, they're a Kyoto-based company when Kyoto is very much about craftsmanship and the connection between the craftsman and the thing that they are creating. Mm-hmm. Like I feel like that kind of mentality is very unique in that region, and it's something that Nintendo feels strongly about. So I don't see them like jumping on this. It's like, yes, this is potentially a solution to this, but I see them kind of being at opposition to what that offers. Of like, yes, we are these are handcrafted experiences that we can tinker with and perfect to our liking, and I don't really see this meeting that need. Whether it ever happened in the future, I don't know, but I think right now this is the mindset. I think they also realize, they're very careful about their image, so I think they understand that going from Charles Martinet to a robot would be a huge PR hit.
Huge PR.
Right, and people would be so mad.
Yeah, more mad than
if
they have what's his face do it? Chris Pratt. What will make them more mad? Chris Pratt or an AI voice?
We've completely misread the room.
Right.
We're going from Chris Pratt to a robot.
To a robot. I do kind of get the sense, though, and I don't know if you do, that, and I totally agree with you about this Kyoto sense of craftsmanship, and the developers have talked about this before, but I get the sense that voice acting is like separate from that development. True development. Like I think true game development, the way that they really, have these development teams that are like kind of locked in this ivory tower in Kyoto, and they have like the kind of like a very, almost like an innocent, untainted mind, and they just sit in that white room and do the thing. Like that, I think, is what they want to preserve. But I always thought voice acting was one of those things where they found to be like a little bit outside of that, like voice acting has been used, or like the way they consider voice acting is like, oh, for the movie, like we can get some celebrities involved in this, or like for games, it's almost like an afterthought because a lot of Nintendo games aren't voice at all. So I just wonder if they kind of see voice acting as outside of the development experience. I don't know.
Well, they do seem very eyes open about the fact that development is changing and expanding. They're building this whole new building to house all these people, and I think with that will come different expectations about how these characters are represented. I think if you think of the old days, or it's like Link going, it's like, well, who's the voice actor for that? I don't know, because who cares?
It's somebody inside of Nintendo.
Somebody did it, but again, who cares? It's nothing. I mean, fine, use a computer for that. I don't care.
Yeah, Treehouse, Nate Builder doing the sploosh.
Right.
For Wind Waker, it's like they don't care.
Right,
yeah.
but I mean, if you're doing something that involves somebody speaking a complete sentence, I think you do want a person. I think, that is a performance. There is art and technique and skill in that.
Yeah, I totally think so too.
Right. So I think maybe that was the way they looked at it in the past, but I think the people in charge are hopefully moving in a direction where there's a bigger sense for this for certain franchises.
Yeah, I really wonder.
Yeah.
There's so much up in the air for like what this means for the future of entertainment. Yeah, I do wonder what it's going to be like.
Yeah. Alejandro is next. Hey, Kit and Krysta, I've been reading up a lot on Baldur's Gate 3 to see if I'd like it, and there's a lot of talk about how different decisions, actions, and conversations you do or even don't do can have lasting impacts on the rest of the game. I have a huge issue with decision paralysis, and part of it comes to thinking of things like the butterfly effect. Where even something small and insignificant can have significant or insignificant consequences later on. For example, this community grew into what it is now because Nintendo closed the office you two worked in. Nintendo Minute ended and you both left and started your own podcast. How do the two of you deal with decision paralysis both in real life and in games? And do you dwell on the what-ifs of the choices you didn't make?
Whoa, this took a turn that I did not expect. Alejandro.
This is why you lay awake at night.
I do. I have a list in my head of decisions that I may have...
Mistakes
I've made. I'm sure I've made many mistakes along the way. I think this is a real thing, this idea of like big and small decisions in your life that can have kind of unforeseen consequences or unforeseen like wonderful things. I do feel like you and I are pretty good about not letting it paralyze us, though. I think that's something that we both admire about each other. Like, you're very good at this, I know. Like, you will make a decision and you just be like, this is it. We're going to go with this and we're just going to see it through, and we're not going to dwell on the what-ifs as things come. Things will change. It's fine. And I think that that's a good perspective to have. You don't want to miss out on opportunities because you're like just so incapable of like taking this step, The other thing that we talk about all the time, I think, is Reggie's lesson to all of us about like, don't forget to look at like the alternate solution. Like, don't get so fixated on this one thing that you have that you think that there's no other possibilities, no other alternatives except for that one thing. Because that's not true. I think life is all about all the alternatives. So I think about that a lot, when I think about big decisions. On a lighter note, in games, I always actually do one thing, is I always do the right decision. Like, I always do the morally good.
Every game?
Every game.
Really?
Every game I choose the morally, quote unquote, morally good, the nice path, the nice person.
So in contrast to your real life.
Exactly.
I see.
That's how I reconcile my evil life with my black heart. And in games, I'm always like the good person.
Yeah. On one hand, YOLO could be a solution to all of this. On the other hand, I mean, in games, it's like, I sort of trust that the game is made to accept a certain the games that allow for it. It's made for you to take a lot of different paths. So I don't stress it. It's like I'll have a different experience, but I'll have a complete experience.
We do talk about with each other a lot when we play a game with different choices. Like, oh, what did you do?
Yeah.
You remember that game? Was it Control that we played?
Yeah.
We really had a lot of fun seeing what each other's decisions were and like what happened at the end. So that's always fun in a game when you make different decisions.
something like Baldur's Gate takes that to another degree where, where it's extremely granular. I think that's kind of fun.
I think it's cool.
And I think that leads to a lot of fun, like, telling a friend, like, hey, this crazy thing happened to me. I can't believe it. With the real life stuff, it's like, we have seen people who really are wrapped up in this, and like they kind of like defer the decision, like they don't make the decision.
Yeah, we have a lot of people in our life.
And it's like that's a tough way to be. So I think it's like
you can see it taking a toll on them.
Yeah, as well. It's like, well, coming to some decision is better than no decision.
Yes.
So let's do what we can to make a smart decision and feel like we have conviction that it's the right decision. And then really commit to it. So yeah.
And if it's not, you just learn something from it too.
Right.
Nothing is gonna like be the end of the world. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna be okay. So.
Are you sure?
I think so.
Some decisions are pretty important.
I mean, some of them are pretty important, but I think at the end of the day, you're gonna be okay.
Okay.
Like you're not gonna like, it's not gonna destroy your life. Talk.
YOLO.
YOLO is the way to
Jason
go.
Ball 34 asks. In the Nintendo Power podcast, rest in peace, they had a segment where the participants had to guess a game that came out X number of years ago based on the clues given. What was it called? Darn it.
Warp quiz?
Something quiz.
Warp Zone?
Warp Zone, yes.
Quiz.
Why were these clues always ridiculously easy?
Oh,
was
really?
it because legal was afraid it would make them look bad if their employees actually got stumped while live on air? Why were they seemingly unwilling to give people, listeners included, an actual challenge?
Oh, I thought some of them were pretty hard.
People almost always got stumped, and it drove me nuts.
I didn't get stumped. I did not get stumped.
Like, the amount of people like who you would think would know, like people from the treehouse, like I don't know. I don't know.
I wasn't.
Like, what?
Oh, no.
Really get a good look into the knowledge.
Yeah. Fake gamers.
Historic. I'm not saying that.
Fake.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I got pretty much all of them right.
I got all of them right. I didn't have an issue. I thought that some of them were challenging though, because I wasn't alive during those years, so that was hard. I wasn't there.
You're not 18.
I know, but there were some that were really old. I wasn't alive in the 60s.
60s? It's 10, 20, 30 years.
I wasn't alive.
I wasn't
alive.
It's a baby.
I was a baby.
Anyhow.
I was one.
Yeah, I mean, I think... So Chris Slate, this was definitely something he was, in charge of. And he actually had... he had some sort of documentation of just like, here are the release dates for all the games, which strangely at Nintendo was very hard to find.
Difficult to find.
He's like, I got this from so-and-so, I'm holding on to it as tightly as I can.
Yeah.
So I think he wanted to strike a sweet spot where for some people it would be a challenge, but not such an insane challenge where it's like, nobody would know that. And I think there's definitely a group of people where it was easy, but it was meant to serve, as with all things Nintendo, serve
a broad audience.
5 to 95.
Oh, the grandma needs to not feel dumb.
Hey, Grandma, we're coming from Nintendo Live, and then I'm quizzing you on all these quizzes.
Warp Zone quiz.
You better get them all right, Grandma.
Grandma.
Yeah.
But it was not a legal thing, because legal did not care if we looked bad.
And they got them wrong all the time.
And they did.
Lady Katie asks, hi guys, was listening to you talk about Diablo 4 and how Krysta likes to play a sorcerer. It made me wonder what her race and class were in World of Warcraft. I still play WoW casually. I play a human fire mage because I also tend to like casters. So, what did Krysta play as? And of course, Horde or Alliance. Thanks.
That's so cool. Oh, I want to play WoW now a little bit. You're making me think back to my good memories. Alliance, of course. I was a night elf priest. I love playing casters as well. I also had a fire mage, like a secondary character, but my main character was my night elf priest named Arena. I like playing support classes, honestly, with these kinds of group games. I would hate to be like responsible as like a tank or something like that, because I think I would fail people and they would be mad if I was the one that was supposed to be like in charge of that and couldn't live up to it. I think it's a lot of pressure. So I quite like playing the support characters. The other thing I was looking at when I was choosing my character for a while, it was like one of my first MMOs that I've ever played, and I read up that like, almost every raid, every group needs a priest, so it'll be easy for you to find people to play with. And I was like, oh, that's good, because I don't want to be like left. Like, I don't want to be like in the like looking for a group and no one like picks you. Like that's sad. So I was very useful. You know, I would. I was a holy priest. So I would do like all the res and all the healing and stuff like that, and I was very useful to all the groups I was part of. So it was fun.
Horde or Alliance?
I said Alliance.
Oh, I definitely zoned out while you were answering that question.
So fun. I miss my WoW days so much.
I miss WoW. I just completely missed it.
Such a moment in my life where I just like fell in love with a different kind of video game. I've been like playing Nintendo games my whole life.
Still go back?
I know I can go back. Yeah.
Would your character still be there?
I sold my character.
You sold it?
Yeah.
To who? And for how much? Oh, really? Just a random person?
A lot of money.
A lot of money.
She had her gear was really good.
Oh, that's
I
interesting.
sold her for like $5,000, something like that, which was a lot of money.
Whoa!
It's a lot of money now, and I was in college, so I was like
5 big ones.
I was like, this is worth it to me. I was so like badly.
Was this like I also need to get this out of my life?
I did, yeah.
This is a toxic thing, though.
It was a little bit toxic towards the end. Like I was not doing anything else. I'm gonna have like an addictive personality.
Oh, no.
So I really did need to like just get rid of it. Too bad. I know. It was so fun though.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that time in my life. It was fun.
Lori Yu is next. Hey, Kit and Krysta, longtime listener but new to the Patreon community. Welcome, Lori Yu.
Welcome.
I was talking to some friends about open world games, and the topic came up of older series transitioning to open world. It worked great for Zelda with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, but it definitely wouldn't work for all classic games. My question is there any series you would like to see attempt at making an open world game? Also, is there any series that you think would never work in an open world format?
I have one game that I keep thinking about
Good.
that would be an interesting open world game that would feel different than maybe other open world games. And
I
that
can't
game
wait to hear
is
this.
Donkey Kong.
Okay.
I think that would be so cool to have like a open world. You still can do like the fun, platforming or whatever. But it'd be fun to have more exploration into like the world of Donkey Kong. I would like to see that. I know we're very far from a Donkey Kong.
So
game
not
now, so.
Donkey Kong 64, but more than that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. That'd be really cool.
Well, I mean, that's the fun of this is like there's so many examples where you can kind of play it out in your brain and be like, well, put them in a big world and here's some stuff that you couldn't do before, and that sounds fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a Splatoon open world game, like that could be neat because they're always so like even the single player stuff is so tightly level based.
Yeah.
Like let's give the Inkling some room to explore, or
and they've built such a really interesting overworld too for Splatoon.
Yeah, or like a really Star Fox is a great example for this, where it's like you can get in the ship, you can get out of the ship, you can walk around, you can get different ships in this big world. That would be the kind of big reboot that series needs.
Yeah.
And that could be exciting. I mean, some that wouldn't work. Like, there's just types of games where it would just be a tedious addition, like open world Mario Party. No, thank you. We made open world Nintendogs.
We don't need open world Mario Kart.
We don't need that.
Like that kind of stuff would be like. You want open
No,
world Mario Kart?
now I'm thinking about that. That might not be bad.
Okay.
Maybe not open world, but maybe like some sort of a town that you're in where you drive.
Oh, there's an overworld?
Like, we go
I don't want that.
Go to Toad's shop, and I'm tuning my card, or I go here, and I'm gonna buy more stuff.
No.
I could kind of like that. And you're in New Donk City.
No.
You see?
I don't want it.
That could be fun, actually.
I don't want it. I just want to get into the race.
All right, fine. Last question is from Mad Dog 5981. Hi, Kit and Krysta. For the new Pokemon Scarlet Violet DLC, Nintendo is promoting that players will be able to catch all of the past, quote, first partner Pokemon. I have only ever heard everyone refer to these Pokemon as starter Pokemon until now. To me, this phrase sounds like it was carefully constructed in a marketing meeting for reasons I could never hope to understand. Do you have any insight on this? What's wrong with starter Pokemon?
They did start using partner Pokemon a couple of years back.
This is not a new thing.
But it's been hard for them to get people to catch on to this official terminology.
But why?
Because people like to say starter Pokemon.
No, but why did they feel the need to make the change?
I'm trying to recall.
I never got an answer to
I'm
this.
trying to recall back to like I remember being in a meeting where they started to use this phrasing, and I was working on a Pokemon game at the time. I think there was like something about like how if you call it a starter Pokemon, you're basically saying that you will be rid of them.
Oh, by the end?
Which you will always do.
I don't.
Oh.
You do?
I mean, I don't.
Really?
Not always, but I'm not hanging on to it for like ever.
Oh.
But yeah, that was one of the reasons I believe is that like if you call it a starter Pokemon, it's like, oh, you're only just gonna start the game with it, and you might
then
not.
You ditch it.
And then you ditch it for your like shinies and your.
That is something you would do.
People do it. You gotta have a good tight 6. What are you gonna do? You put to sleep is what you're gonna do. And so yeah. Anyhow, so then the partner Pokemon became phrasing that they liked better because it's like this is your partner for your whole adventure. Like you really want to get attached to this character, this Pokemon that you start your game with, but it's not just who you start your game with. But it is, to your point, it is absolutely a very carefully constructed marketing term. I remember when we first started like getting used to saying partner Pokemon was like very awkward because everyone called it starters for so long that it was just like a strange transition to say like partner Pokemon. And it's
clearly something that means nothing to nobody.
It means nothing to nobody. It basically.
But this is a phrase that people now are like really emotionally attached to too. So it's like super hard to change it.
Exactly.
There's resistance to changing it.
I don't think people even ever thought that starter Pokemon.
I mean, if it's not even been noticed until now.
Yeah.
Years later.
Right. And I honestly like the problem that they manufactured to rename it partner Pokemon, which you know, is that idea that you would get rid of these Pokemon. I don't think people cared or whatever.
Fix your game. Do that first.
The glitches, though.
I don't want to hear about your Pokemon endgame meta strats.
Because
I don't want to hear about it.
I'm gonna beat you. You just don't. You don't
I don't play that. I don't play that.
You don't play it.
I don't play that.
I
don't play Pokemon that way.
You don't like to play it like that.
I play single player only.
Okay.
Those are our questions for the week. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
It's time to shout out some wonderful Patreon superstars. Our superstars tier.
Here we go. Aaron Hash.
Ben Eichhorn.
MaruMayhem.
Eigenverse.
KissMyFlapjack.
Mike Chin.
Mr. Rogers.
Boy, Eschke.
Switching it up _
Sephazon.
TheSharkAmongMen.
vgmlife.
Link, the hero of wins.
Angela Bycroft. Interpig Molly.
TurboChargeNerd.
Thomas O'Rourke.
Kyle LeBoeuf.
Christopher Lara.
Simon.
Fredrik Ulf Konradsson.
Andrew Youhas.
And Chili.
Oh boy.
All right. Now in this One-Up Club, last week I got the coveted Pangy Snozzle combo.
Ooh, what's gonna happen today?
There have been some new people added, so I don't know if the flow has been broken up.
Oh.
I will definitely be excited.
We're gonna be on very
if I get that again.
High patrol for that.
Don't try and skip ahead.
We also did a super fun One-Up Club meetup.
We did.
And we played this game called Gartic.
Why is it called Gartic Phone? I still don't know.
But it was very fun, and we had a great time with our One-Up Club and Superstars.
We did.
But here we go. Aaron Burgundy.
Adam and Ansley.
Ali Alejandro.
Alexandra Pratt.
Astro Dev.
Bad Moon Horizon.
Ben GB.
Bookem Dano.
Brad SF56.
Brook Obscura.
Brookie Kazooie.
Bruce Dash.
Shelly Squirrel.
Christopher Lay.
Captain Alex.
Crimcat.
C Roper 17.
Daniel Cold.
Dachshund.
Dolce.
Dino Punch.
Elite Peach.
Esparts 50.
Fart Priest 69.
Furbound.
Fernie and Jess Forever.
Fox Deploy.
Fred Rossi.
Garrett Hallfish.
Garth the Wolf.
Gartooth.
G-Sun 101.
Heroic.
Ian Shea.
Iris Marin.
Jay Rando.
Jabroni Jones.
Jeffrey Hernandez.
Jerry 92602.
Jesse Hernandez.
John Responte.
Jonathan Rowe.
Jordan Collette.
Jordan Hemmerly.
Joseph DeHaze.
Joshua Clements.
Juji Fruit.
Just Camtro.
Justin Lemminger.
Cairo Trigger.
Kawa 2796.
Keith Kwan.
Kelpshake.
Kevin Delane.
Kilo Kibo.
Krisu.
Christopia Party With Me.
Kyle Gamer Barry Rookie.
Kyle Kretzer.
Kyler Nelson.
Linnell Stickman.
Lennis Sullivan.
Lit.
Luminous.
Mad Dog 5981.
Magnificent Easy G and Callie Marie.
Marky Man 64.
Naked Dragon 101.
Megan.
Michael Cravens.
Mikey.
Modamania.
Mr. Andy Pong.
Mr. Beans and Dip.
MSN Pokegamer.
Mytran.
Nasir.
Nathan Burkhart.
Nick E.
Ninja 11.
Panda Buns.
Pandy.
Paul C. Pace.
Paul Gale Network.
Prime Factor.
Prince Charmless.
Raver.
Rain Tech.
Renee Rivers.
Ryoth 1.
RJ Kern.
Rob Osborne.
Rocks.
Rianetta.
Sam Newland.
Cypher A.
Sharif Jackson.
Shinryu.
Slowbro.
Silly Ferret.
Dang it. SF Sharky 777.
Snozzle.
Spicy Munchkin.
Steel Citron.
Sunny Gaduru.
Tales of Link.
Terra Storm. Sorry.
Thomas Alvarez.
Three Rivers.
Topher Schmofer.
Travis Torline.
Tugs Puppy Bear.
Tuscoob.
Tyler Geis.
Dazaz.
Video Game Stupid.
Viridian.
Virtual Bot.
Weed Kingdom.
Wicked Davy.
Will Johnson.
Zudaverve.
Zelgaroth.
Zapatty.
And Zroid.
Yes. That's totally like a everybody 1-2 switch game where it's like, if you start on Aaron Burgundy and alternate names for 50 names, will you get Pangy and Snozzle?
And then it's like yes or no.
Ah.
And then the quiz, you fail the quiz and you feel like an idiot.
Minus 100 points for you.
Oh my god.
Yes.
By the way, Gartic Fun is 1,000 million times better than what everybody 1-2 switch.
Yeah,
and
it really,
it's free.
It really is.
Oh my lord, the trauma of everybody 1-2 switch will never die. All right, if you would like to support us, join us on patreon.com/Kit and Krysta. There's so many cool exclusives that you get. You get access to our wonderful, you can be part of our wonderful, beautiful community that we do so much with, and it's great.
That's right. If you're watching on video, you can go ahead and subscribe to this channel, give this video a thumbs up, and leave us a comment. And if you're listening on audio, you can also subscribe, give us a 5-star rating, and leave us a written review, please.
Please. And we are on the socials, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, and Threads.
Whoa.
Whoa. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this early podcast.
See you soon for some Starfield.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.